welcome to another edition of the Sports Board. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony Show. Renee from the couch, Michael and Matthew in the vicinity. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing very well, baby. You know, a little tired from the festivities last night. But hey, man, it was a great time. Super stoked to be here talking about a nice Rangers victory that occurred last night as well. Going to break that down today. Super stoked. I'm also excited what you have for us as well.
Oh, yeah. A lot to go over. And echoing what you said, I mean, what a day, what a night yesterday. Really enjoyed it. And you know what? Despite, my poor performance in NHL, learning experience, it's only up from here.
Dude, exactly.
The goals will be flowing. It's just a matter of time. So really enjoyed that and can't wait for the gaming corners to come. That's for sure. Plus the production experience was very exciting as well. Renee got a kick out of that one.
Yeah, dude.
Me on the other side of the glass, something different for our viewing audience.
Love to see that. Something, there may be some more to come there, Brian.
Yeah. The future is bright, Tony. The future is bright. And let's just switch it up today to get started. Let's go actually to the world of Major League Baseball.
Whoa.
2-2, he got him swinging. A back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei. Way, Cy-Yo, nada, where did that land?
Smoke to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins and fires, out at first.
There it goes, see ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
Home run, Aaron Hicks.
Oh, dude.
Oh, stop. So yeah, yesterday, I believe it was, I don't know if it was on the radio or wherever it was. Brian Cashman, up to no good as always, stating that he believes Aaron Hicks will be the everyday left fielder. Now I'm just curious, what you think here, Tony. First thing I thought of when he said it is that it is a very, very pathetic attempt to up his trade value. And that nobody in the right mind would want to just hand Aaron Hicks the starting job after the poor performance he had, that lapse in the field where he thought a ball was foul and he's just standing there. And then, the injury that happened after that, and then he was out for the postseason. But it's just, he has not been a productive player in like 5 years. So it's like, I don't even understand what the conversation is. There's rumors that they'd be willing to eat half of the contract, which I think will help facilitate a deal. But before we get to any of that, I mean, just your initial thought about what Cashman said. Do you buy any of it?
I don't know. I mean, part of me wants to say no, but also part of me is like, well, I mean, they've been going with Hicks for quite some time, even because of his, I guess you could say, really lack of production. I mean, you look at his numbers last season, 384 at bats, 83 hits, 8 home runs. His batting average was 216. He's a career 231 hitter right now. And you mentioned the defensive lapse in judgment as well, in the outfield. I mean, he's someone who, any team I'm sure would be looking at him as an unreliable player. He struggled with injury as well. I don't know, dude. I just think that there's really I don't know. I mean, again, to me, I mean, for Cashman to come out and say that, I think it is pretty heinous, to think that he could really bring anything to the table for the Yankees here. Who's the young dude? Cabrera, right? Oswaldo Cabrera.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you rather have him out there? I mean, I understand the talks about getting Reynolds, right? You mentioned, possibly that having a few outfielders from the Twins on their radar as well. But obviously, you want to be careful with what type of prospects you're giving up here. I mentioned Reynolds. It seemed like that the ask for him was a little high, a little rich for the Yankees, rightfully so. I mean, I wouldn't give up too many prospects for Reynolds, but I mean, to come out and say you're starting Aaron Hicks, I mean, that's just kind of a waste then. Like, then why not just give it the prospects then?
But do you think it was an attempt to up the trade value?
I don't know. I couldn't even. I mean, how's that going to help? How is that even?
But
like, oh wow, he's a starter. Like,
being an idiot at times,
right,
or most of the time.
I just don't. I mean, I understand. Like, maybe I don't know. I really just think that Cashman, as we've seen in previous seasons, they're like, all right, like Hicks is the guy we spent money on. Like, we're gonna play him. I don't know. I can't really see him. Like, why would he even think that it would up his trade value? I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
Right?
No.
I mean, teams aren't going to be like, oh wow, like Aaron Hicks could be our starter. He's starting for the Yankees. Sure, we'll give up some decent, money or prospects for him. Sure. Like, there's no way any team is going to be looking at Aaron Hicks as like, okay, this is like a viable trade option here for us.
Yeah. And I believe the terms of the deal left is 3 years, $30 million. So if they have, 3-year deal, $15 million. I mean, you would think that there would be a team that would do that. I don't know if it's that bad where they need to wait for there to be an injury during spring training.
Right.
But that's just such a manageable salary. So maybe that deal is already on the table and he's holding out for more. It's like, just do it now.
Just get rid of him.
Like, it's just rip off the Band-Aid, please.
Honestly.
But supposedly, I forgot where I was looking at this. It probably was just on Twitter, but there was like 4 teams interested in Donaldson, 3 teams interested in Hicks. But like, obviously eating half the salary, I think, is like a big talking point. And I know one of the teams for Donaldson was like Detroit. And I think even Minnesota is looking for a third baseman after the Luis Ariz trade. So I do feel like they will be able to get that stuff done. I think, as always, Cashman is dragging his feet. And I just think these answers are so simple. And I know we talked about last night on Gaming Corner, we're talking about Byron Buxton and Max Kepler. And it's like, you don't even need to do that. Oswaldo Cabrera is there. Just give them the opportunity. And I'm just so excited for the young guys that we have. Like, let's go. And if you need, other reinforcements, I think Florial, you give him more playing time. I think he could be productive. It's like, you saw what you did to Andujar. You ruined him because you didn't give him consistent at bats. Don't do that with Esteban Florial. Give him a lot of at bats. Give him a chance to earn a role on this team and get rid of the guys clogging the roster. And IKF's another one. It's just, there will be such more of a sense of optimism knowing that those 3 guys are not on this team, come opening day. I mean, it's just a complete game changer, and you're just cutting dead weight. And in my eyes, it can't come any sooner than that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, these are guys that I feel like if you're the Yankees, I mean, you're dying to get rid of them. Like, I understand you want to get good value for them to kind of have some type of, I guess, silver lining, but you got to take what you can get here. I mean, Josh Donaldson going to sure, get rid of him. I mean, they're just kind of wasting space really on the Yankees roster. And like you mentioned, you have a substantial number of young guys you can bring up and give a significant number of at-bats to. And if Donaldson or Hicks are stealing at-bats away from younger players here who you're trying to develop, I mean, that's just going to hurt your team further. Just get them out of here. Put the young guys in, dude.
Yeah.
Did you see Donaldson's golf swing though?
I did see that. Yeah.
Looked pretty good, dude.
He should maybe retire.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. Right.
I mean, if he's obviously working on his golf game a lot more.
What is, like, let's say, he gets a similar amount of playing time as last year, and I would assume it's on a different team. So let's just make that assumption. But playing regularly, best case scenario, Donaldson. Let's say he goes somewhere like Pittsburgh, where no one's even watching, no pressure or anything. What honestly is the best case scenario in your eyes in terms of, like, a batting average, home run, and RBIs for Donaldson this year?
Oh man. All right. If he's going to like a new market where there's really, I guess, obviously not so much under a microscope as he would be for the Yankees, I can see his batting average maybe like just like kissing like 280, maybe.
Wow. I mean, I would be comeback player of the year.
No, yeah. I mean, it'd be a great turnaround for him. And I think that that's really what he needs.
What was that?
That was Renee. And I could see him, maybe adjusting himself. Probably one of his biggest adjustments would be hitting for average as opposed to hitting for power. And I think
what power?
Well, that's what I mean. I think
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
end of the season, I don't know, maybe 17 home runs. Nothing crazy.
Hit 15 last year.
Yeah. And that market, you're definitely going to see a little bit of a spike in, I think, production for him. How many RBIs do you have last
62.
year? Oh, dude.
OPS is 682.
Well, that's not good.
222 average.
Oh, dude. I don't know. Maybe he'll finish with on the same RBIs, 70 RBIs, maybe, as he's kind of hitting that average up a little bit. Because, this is a guy, I understand how horrible he is right now. But, this is someone who was talked about being league MVP, at one point, having a couple good seasons with the Braves. I think he probably hit 35 home runs in his best
that
season
one
with the
year.
Braves.
Yeah.
He's got it in there. And I think going for, another market, you'll see his average certainly spike. And I think he'll have some success. Defensive side, I don't know, dude. I mean, he's made some good plays at third, but he's made some stupid plays at third as well. So,
and metrically, last year was a great season. He's gonna have a worse season defensively.
Yeah,
there's
probably.
no way he's gonna have that season again.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, I think going to a place like Detroit, is that kind of really on the table here
Texas,
for him? Detroit, Texas.
Oh,
Texas, dude. You don't want to go to the Rangers.
I don't know. Super team there. Good. I think it's top 3 in ballpark factor as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Good ballpark?
Yeah, because they have they're second to altitude in the majors, behind Colorado.
Oh.
So the ball, definitely flies out of there.
Wow, never would have guessed that, honestly.
I
Texas being high?
Yeah, that not too high. It's crazy too. I mean, you look at it, full season. He had before last year, he had one season where his OPS was under 800, and last year it was 682.
Wow.
It's of course, when we get him.
Yeah, it's so tough, dude.
I mean, even if he had just done what he did the previous year, the 26, 72, 247, I mean, it would have been perfect. That's all we wanted.
Wow.
And he just couldn't even sniff that.
It's funny that you're begging for a 247 batting average. It's so funny.
But I think 250 is the old 270.
Yeah.
Which is I don't know. And then too, just all these devaluing of certain statistics. We know batting average last couple of years, people have kind of said, oh, that's not important. And then I'm hearing too, RBIs aren't important. It's oh, well, it depends. How many situations you come up with runners on. So I guess maybe, okay, you're batting with runners in scoring positions is more important. But
that makes a little sense. But still,
I feel we got to just everything has been fine with baseball. Why do we constantly feel we need to change our mindsets and the way that we do business?
Yeah, it's pretty bogus. I mean, honestly, and it's funny, kind of, you're coming on, after last night's performance of you trying to change the game of hockey, and now you're over here complaining that they're changing baseball. I just find that kind of amusing.
Well, just before you, all right, fine.
No, what do you got? What do you got?
No. You said I was just saying. Me, you, who's first?
You could go, dude.
I just think the difference is baseball is a perfect game, and there's no reason to change it. And hockey, there's some stuff I think could be fixed. It gets a little confusing at times,
like offsides.
It just I don't. But so it's I just think it's stupid. Especially you're skating, you're going full speed, and then it's oh, I gotta wait for the defender to pass me, so I'm not offsides. I have to come to a screeching halt because I'm at some stupid line. I mean, what sense does that make, Tony? But that is the situation.
You got to make sure your guys aren't over the line before the puck. You can't be offsides.
You should be able to pass to somebody up ahead. Why is that such a big problem? You have a fast skater. It's not his problem. He's fast. Unbelievable. But I guess that's a conversation for another day. Some small news here, and this is why kind of the Kepler and the Buxton rumors were being talked about with the Yankees. Twins acquiring Michael Taylor from the Royals for Evan Sisk and Steven Cruz. I guess Taylor won a Gold Glove at one point, but doesn't do much with the bat. I think this is a minimal trade, but they definitely have a lot of outfielders in Minnesota. So you would anticipate that one of them is going to be moved. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think that they'll definitely move either Buxton or Kepler? And I'm almost thinking more Kepler because Buxton feels like he's like their foundational player aside from Correa.
Yeah, honestly, I really couldn't agree more. Buxton brings so much just like energy. Not to mention, his style of playing. I mean, it's I guess honestly, energy is probably the good word to it because he's explosive, he's speedy, he's got a good bat. He's a great outfielder. He's someone who I think they've been kind of, the Twins have been kind of clinging to a little bit as being the face of their team. And I understand. I mean, I don't think bringing in Correa is going to really change much of that. It's going to add to it. But I mean, Byron Buxton's like still their guy. I mean, I feel like every season he has like 2 inside the park home runs. I mean, the guy is energetic. I really couldn't see that they kind of get rid of him. So I would probably, lean towards more Kepler as well. And I think, I mean, obviously both players they can get good prospects for, but I think Kepler you can get a decent return on. And with, the acquisition of Taylor, I mean, I think it'll probably be a good switch for them.
Byron Buxton, he made his debut at 21. He's 29. How many seasons has he played 100 games?
I mean, I know just from me following him recently in the past few years, it does seem like he does have like a significant injury each year. So you say 8 seasons, right? You say?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 4 of those seasons he plays over 100 games.
1.
No way, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So
that's not good.
No. And last year, I think he only hit 224. A lot of power, 28 home runs in like 92 games. But
wow.
So that's a risk that they have, going on there. I'm kind of just looking here at Max Kepler. He's only hit over 250 once. He's hit over 20 home runs twice. He came up at 22. He's 29 now. Last year, 227, 9 home runs, 43 RBIs, slugging 348. That 1 year in 2019 where it seemed like the balls were juiced, the 36 home runs. Is it
36 home runs that year?
Yeah.
Wow.
In 90 RBIs. Is it wrong for me to kind of be Joey Gallo scarred in terms of the Yankees? I mean, I know he's a lefty, 6'4", big guy, but I just think it's a risk you just can't take. And once again, your internal options just make so much more sense.
Yeah. Kind of like you said, I mean, 6 home runs last season.
Yeah.
How many games did he play?
I think like 120.
Oh.
Or not, I think it was 9 home runs. But either way, still, I mean, that's not.
Yeah. It doesn't really. Yeah, I mean, I think at that point.
Yeah, 9 home runs.
Yankees, I mean, yeah, just take a shot on one of your young guys. Odds are, I mean, anyone else is going to hit more than 9 home runs, I feel like.
Estevan Florial, I think, it hit 20 if he gets hot.
Is he a lefty?
Switch hitter.
Oh, well.
But he just doesn't get opportunity. Oh, man. I think you're wasting one there. I really do. You know who the Mets should pick up is Andujar. I mean, I know you would love a free agent spring training invite.
Oh, absolutely, dude. And, you seem to talk pretty highly of him.
But you get where I'm coming from with him.
Yeah. Oh, no, of course, dude. I mean, I think, again, at this point, the Mets are trying to look for any type of, I guess, offense from really any direction, some depth to their roster as well. I mean, it's not going to hurt. And I feel like he's a free agent right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you pick him up, see what you can do for him. Like, why not?
Yeah. No, I think it makes too much sense.
If not, he's going to play well anyway. You can probably, maybe trade him for some decent something.
But, you don't even need to trade him. Just play him. Let him produce. Let him go to work.
That'd be pretty awesome.
You know what else I was surprised about? The Astros, I guess the former Marlins, this guy named Hill, former Marlins GM, he took his name out of the running, for the open vacancy there, general manager, after they let James, is it Click? Is that how you pronounce his name? That was the GM?
I don't think it is.
Cliche.
Cliche?
No, I feel like it is Click.
It could be.
But regardless.
Since too easy.
It's how do they not have a GM? I mean, free agency's over.
I know. What are we doing?
I don't know. Do you think like kind of their strategy of letting guys go, in terms of their free agents, not bringing in big names? I know they brought in Abreu, but I don't know how good of a sign that really is.
Yeah,
I think the worst is ahead for him. But you think that strategy of not re-signing their guys and kind of just being nonchalant and just saying, oh, well, our system reproduces guys eventually was going to catch up with them?
I mean, from my perspective, as someone, I guess, on the outside looking in, I would say yes. I really don't know what type of moves they can make in terms of bringing up young talent. But I mean, yeah, signing Abreu, I think they re-signed Michael Brantley too. I mean, those guys, like, although, you've seen Brantley have some big spots in postseason games, but I mean, like consistently over the season, Abreu consistently over the season. I mean, these aren't guys that are going to win you like, 100 regular season games, I mean, Abreu seems to be kind of semi on his way out here. Same thing with Brantley too. I mean, I feel like their production's on a little bit of a decline. Obviously them losing Verlander too is pretty significant, I think. I mean, they may be looking at a tough season upcoming. So, but I don't know. Again, I'm on the outside looking in. I don't know what they have. I don't know who they're kind of going to be banking on maybe for a young guy to come up. We've seen them obviously have success with kind of some homegrown players from them. So I don't know. We'll see.
It just because they haven't been hurt by defections before, but I just think this Verlander thing will hurt them. And I know
I think so too.
He missed the previous season, but he won the Cy Young last year, and his ERA was under 2. And I know they have Framber Valdez, who looked really good last year.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it Valdez, Garcia? Who's the other guy?
We literally had the same conversation too a couple of weeks ago.
Because Valdez is the guy with the like the sticky stuff, or
Javier.
Okay, so that's
Lance McCullers too. They got.
I don't know why I never thought McCullers was that good.
Yeah, honestly, I really don't think he was. Jose Urquidy.
That guy's not good.
Yeah, no, dude. I think they may have an issue here.
So I just thought that that was interesting, and really, the only other thing I wanted to mention was the Angels owner Artie Moreno yesterday announcing he will not sell the team, and I almost think this bodes well for teams hoping to either acquire or sign as a free agent Shohei Ohtani, because we know Ohtani is highly frustrated with the direction of the team, wants to win and doesn't want to waste his career over there. So you thought maybe there was a chance he could stay there. He likes Trout. Seems like the players kind of rallied behind Nevin last year with a new owner, but with the same owner that's failed year after year, I think he's as good as gone.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, how much improvement is this guy really going to be making to the Angels? And I think, yeah, sure. That's fine, Renee. Thank you. I mean, I understand, like, it just, like you mentioned, I mean, the Angels team just kind of fails like year in, year out. And it's, they make a couple acquisitions during the off
Tyler
season.
Anderson.
And you're thinking, oh, like, you know what? Like, this addition is going to really help the team get some wins. We mentioned how tough their division is, for them to kind of just have a look at the playoffs, like, oh, you know what, they could, maybe a hot start to start off the season, but I just think in the long run, I mean, I don't know what it is about that team, but they need to really shake things up. And it's not even, I don't know if it is the culture, if it is the ownership. You mentioned this guy has owned the team since he bought it from Disney in what, 03?
I believe it was 03 or 04. Yeah.
Right. So like you're talking about 20 years of disappointment, basically. I mean, you have Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, who are two of like the best players in the league. Like I mentioned, they try to make acquisitions. They tried to pull in Syndergaard. They brought in Rendon. And for whatever reason, I mean, I guess maybe that market or the team or something, they just never do well. They're always struggling with injury. Unfortunately, Mike Trout is one who succumbs to injuries. I feel like every season he has something wrong. I think last year he broke his hand, right? He was out for a significant amount of time. Rendon was out for a while. They just seem to have like obstacles coming up every season. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sucks that the guy doesn't want to trade or sell the team, rather. If I were him, I would get out of there. I don't know what he's attached to. Again, he's been with the team for 20 years, I guess. Probably some type of, sentimental emotions there. But, dude, you got to get, like, Mike Trout has to get into the playoffs here. Like, this is kind of ridiculous for a man with that type of talent, that type of career. to kind of never see a World Series is going to be pretty crazy if that's the way it is. And then even with Ohtani, I mean, if I'm Ohtani, like you said, I don't want to spend my career in LA. I mean, the team it's a losing team for 2 decades here. You know, like it's tough, dude.
I'm telling you though, I'm looking at this roster, and I know we say this every
Yeah.
year because we're waiting, but I mean, I think the pitching, with the addition of Tyler Anderson, Patrick Sandoval broke out last year. You know, his ERA was under 3. You got Reed Detmers, who threw the no-hitter, and then Jose Suarez is your 5th starter. I think the rotation is going to be good. The bullpen looks a little questionable. Carlos Estevez, I don't know too much about him. But if somehow, okay, he's 30 years old. He came over from Colorado. But if somehow Anthony Rendon gives you anything resembling what he was in Washington, you think about him, you think about Trout, Ohtani, you brought in Renfroe, and then you also brought in Gio Urshela and Brandon Drury. So this could be a really high-powered, attack in terms of their offense. Taylor Ward had a pretty good year last year, 23 home runs. So I know it's a tough division, but there's always things that you don't see coming. Am I crazy? Tell me if I'm crazy here, Tony, but am I crazy to say they at least have their best chance of competing for a playoff spot than they have, in recent history?
I mean, I guess so. I guess you can say, it's the best chance they have. I'm just trying to look up. I mean, yeah, I mean, again, like those acquisitions are big. But I mean, I don't know, dude. Again, for them to compete in their division, to kind of touch maybe a wild card spot, I don't know. I for something like the Angels, again, we're talking about years of disappointment here. I was even someone who was like, hey, like last year doing our divisional, kind of previews. I'm like, you know what, the Angels could do something. They could go deep, they could hit a wild card spot, they can make it to the postseason, and they ended up not, right? So I mean, I kind of at this point I'm kind of like, I guess, scarred from saying that, and I'll believe it when I see it, sort of deal. Okay, because these people have to stay healthy, they have to produce consistently. You mentioned the shoddy bullpen. I feel like the bullpen has been something the Angels have always overlooked
Since the K-Rod days.
Literally. And obviously, I mean, a good bullpen is what kind of gets you through, the dog days of July and everything like that. When there's a push for the postseason and you're, game and a half, 2 games, behind of a wild card spot. It's like, great bullpen showings that can kind of propel a team to get into the postseason, to win some games. And again, I mean, we've seen kind of some players coming in and out of the team in terms of offense, and we've seen them have some poor productions. I mean, Rendon is one of them. He has, one of the biggest contracts in the league right now, and he's done pretty much nothing for the Angels.
Yeah. I'm expecting something. I don't know.
I know, me too. I was expecting something when he went there to begin with.
Yeah.
And it was just like injuries, not good like production at at the plate, dude. It's just
I guess this is year 4.
Yeah.
He's had 3 terrible years, but I don't know. I feel good about that. Just to have a shot. We'll have to see. One thing to kind of close this out, I'd like to ask you here, and just from last year, if you could give me one team from each league that made the playoffs last year that you don't expect to make the playoffs this year, starting in the AL. So obviously we had the Yankees, the Rays, the Jays all made the playoffs out of the East. In the Central, the Guardians made the playoffs. And then the West, the Mariners and the Astros made the playoffs. So out of all those teams, which one do you think doesn't make the playoffs this year?
Just one of them?
Just one.
Oof. That's a good question. I kind of want to. We were just talking about the Astros. I want to say them, but I'm going to go with Cleveland. Honestly, I just think that I mean, obviously, they were kind of hanging around, I guess, against the Yankees, but I just think this upcoming season, I mean, I think they were kind of, going into the postseason by the skin of their teeth. The Astros, again, another team I would have picked, but I just feel like they kind of always find a way to sneak in there. So I'll say the Cleveland Guardians.
I'm going to actually go with the Rays.
Wow.
The East is tough every year, but I mean, we could say pretty much this should be. I mean, I know stuff surprises us every year, but the toughest the East has ever been, just because Baltimore seems like they're ascending.
Yeah.
Yankees, Tampa, and Toronto all made the playoffs last year. And then Boston was awful last year. I mean, not that we're expecting anything out of Boston this year, but you would have to assume that they're going to be somewhat better than they were last year. So I think it's going to be a real dogfight, and I could see them on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. And on the NL side of things, the Mets obviously made the playoffs, the Phillies and the Braves out of the East. In the Central, we had the Cardinals make the playoffs, and then out West, we had the Padres and the Dodgers. So out of all those teams, who's not making the playoffs this year?
Jeez, dude.
Tough.
That is really tough. I mean, obviously, out of the East, I think they're all going to be in the playoffs. I mean, I can't really say the Dodgers, and to pick the Padres, I mean, it's so ridiculous.
Only leaves one team.
It really only
by default too.
The Cards, though. I mean, I feel like I guess I'll have to pick the Card. And how it's so tough, dude.
Arenado and Goldschmidt.
Arenado and Goldschmidt. I know, but they're going to be fine. Arenado's production has been still pretty ridiculous. And even Goldschmidt after that year. Adam Wainwright. I mean, I guess maybe we've seen some decline with his age, but
for someone his age, he pitches pretty well.
Yeah, dude. Jesus, dude. I mean, I guess I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I guess I'll say the Dodgers, honestly.
Wow.
Think about that, dude.
Cream of the crop.
I just think
5-10 years.
I know, but losing
Trey
Turner, obviously, Anderson.
Yep.
And then
bringing in Thor.
Yeah. Forget that, dude. No way.
Big year coming up.
I don't think so. He's
throwing 100,
falling flat on his face.
Minced meat.
The whole Trevor Bauer situation as well, losing him.
Does anybody sign him?
Honestly, teams would be stupid not to sign him, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think someone should pick him up. Someone will pick him up.
Small market makes sense.
Yeah. Cody Bellinger, I mean, we know,
better that he's gone though.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I suppose it is, but I mean, I feel like still like he made some phenomenal defensive plays out in the outfield. So I just think Justin Turner gone. I mean, when you look at their roster and you say that they've been kind of a powerhouse for the last 5 years, they kind of lost a lot of guys here. They're talking about how the Dodgers are kind of gearing up this year to make a run for Ohtani. So I think maybe their eyes are a little bit, like the following year. We'll see how this year goes. Let's try and get, some things in check to be ready to when we try to go at Ohtani. So I do think maybe this year, again, their priorities may be a little different. It seems like they understand too that they may be in a little bit of a transitional period here. Obviously we know probably Mookie Betts is going to be Mookie Betts, so that, they're going to still, be a competitive team, but I'll go on a limb and say the Dodgers.
I'm going to go the Cardinals, and kind of just by default. We know they had a really good year last year, but Pujols, I think brought a lot of energy to the team. His retirement, Yachty. They bring in Wilson Contreras, so I think he's going to have a tough first year because
you think so?
There's going to be a lot of comparisons. He's not good defensively,
and
they're used to what Yachty brings. So I think that could pose some problems. And then Goldschmidt, Arenado, another year older. You never know what happens with injuries, and I think that just makes the most sense. As well as Jordan Montgomery, kind of a lot of expectations after the strong start he had with them after coming over from the Yankees. So I'm going to say the Cardinals.
Not do well, Monty?
Not like 7 ERA, but I don't think like he's pitching like he's Bob Gibson. I don't think that'll happen. And it's kind of interesting too. A guy that really, I don't know if he won the Cy Young, but he was at least in the conversation back in what year was this? Probably 2019, I want to say. Jack Flaherty. I mean, what's the deal with him? He hasn't made 20 starts since 2019. In the past 3 seasons combined, he's made 35 starts. So, what's he going to give you? Wainwright, will it finally be, just where he falls off a cliff? That could happen. So I just think there's a lot of question marks for the Cardinals.
I like it. Good picks.
Baseball around the corner. Do we know the exact date of spring training, like the pitchers and catchers?
I think it's something like 50 days away. Is it 50?
No.
Pitchers and catchers.
Yeah.
Dude, it's got to be way.
February 14th. So we're like 3 weeks away, right?
February 13th. reporting
Nevertheless,
camp,
about
dude.
3 weeks away.
Yeah, dude. And position players by the 16th, it says, too. That's interesting.
Crazy. And it seems like there's still some free agents poking around out there.
Yeah, dude. Where,
I guess, Bauer's
really,
big.
Bauer's probably going to be your biggest one, I guess.
I feel like there's somebody we're missing, though.
Who?
I'm going to look it up just to kind of, let's see, top remaining free agents. Gary Sanchez.
Wow.
Jurickson Provar.
Oh, okay.
There was some talk about the Yankees bringing him in, which wouldn't be terrible, but like we said, we like the internal options. Abdul Herrera. I'm surprised. And Trey Mancini just signed. Was it the Cubs? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm surprised Gurriel didn't sign, or
Really?
he did.
I thought he did, but I could be wrong.
No. So that's a guy out there. Sanchez is interesting. I heard the Giants actually were interested. The whole Joey Bart thing hasn't worked out. And I know he played more DH than catcher last year, but I guess they said his results defensively behind the plate improved, but the offense didn't. But I guess do people just look at Gary Sanchez and just say, there was once something really special there. We want to just take a chance on trying to fix it.
I guess
30 years old.
You want to do that?
I just want to see if there's any news about this. Let's see.
I can't believe Yuli is 38.
Came over late. That's why
crazy,
from Cuba.
Dude.
I guess Angels showing a lot of interest. This was up to 4 days ago. That would be interesting too. Maybe Trout could give him a couple tips. Ohtani. I want to see Sanchez on the Angels reuniting with Gio Urshela.
That would be nice. I think you would see some uptick in his production. But
I think Urshela too. I don't think Urshela's finished. Honestly, I think Minnesota. He didn't have a Josh Donaldson year last year. He could still be an average starting player.
I think so
He can play short.
And you've seen some really real good bright spots with the Yankees too. I could see it.
So gonna be interesting. Can't wait. So pumped. The grind of 162 days, 62 games, and I believe it's 180 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Talk about a grind, though.
That's a pretty crazy schedule for them.
And that's why I feel like baseball players are disrespected. They don't get a lot of respect. Everybody's talking about all the other leagues. Oh, baseball this, baseball that. Oh, what do they really do? They just stand there. No, it's a tough thing that goes on for a half a year and more if you're in the postseason.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. And it's not like, I do think it does get overlooked. Dude, they're traveling everywhere. You're talking about, multiple game series in one city going to another one. Sometimes, teams are on the road for like a week over, I think it's a really tough schedule. And I think people do overlook that because they think, oh, wow, like obviously they always go NFL because it's contact sport, but it's like, dude, it's like 17 weeks.
And they don't realize how hard it is. 100 miles an hour coming at you. Yeah, try to hit it out.
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
But yeah, I am pumped. And last question, but before we go to hockey here, do you think the Yankees or the Mets make some type of big move in terms of a trade before the season starts?
A trade?
One, both, none.
I don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
You don't think the Yankees with those guys though, with IKF, with Donaldson, with Hicks, you don't think they are able to trade one of them with the salary situation?
Well, it seems like Hicks going to be on the opening day rosters, so I don't think so.
IKF seems like a no-brainer. 1-year deal. I think he still has another year at team controller too. He's only making $5 million.
I think
that shouldn't be hard.
I think before spring training, no.
Mid-season, I'm saying before the regular season.
Before the regular season, probably not either.
Wow. All right. I'm going to say each team will make at least one trade.
Who do you think the Mets
guarantee
are
it.
Get rid of?
I'm going to say they're going to trade Escobar or Kana.
I could see Kana. But again, I think before the season starts, I don't think so.
You never know injuries in spring training. That's a big thing.
That's true.
Injuries suck, though. Really, it's just you just want to see everybody at full strength.
Yeah, I know. Especially, spring training too. Obviously they're trying out a bunch of different guys in spring training too, so they may pivot.
Yeah,
in terms
you
of
give
who
a
they
prospect
want.
a shot, the guy that you have on the radar. So,
but we'll see.
Interesting stuff. Let's go though. Let's go to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal!
My goodness, this is a great shot.
Big hit on the far side by Makar. He flattens Jordan's skull. Oh, my goodness. Deflects the top right back. Terrifying and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliance from Igor Shesterkin. It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime.
All right. So we were giving you guys live updates on the air last night during Gaming Corner. The Rangers 6-2 over the Florida Panthers in a game at the Garden. The Rangers, you felt like, needed to have after that disappointing effort against the Bruins on Thursday. You love to see 6 goals. That's obviously a really strong offensive game. And the fact, too, that the scoring was spread out. I know Zibanejad had 2. But then, Hedl finding the net for his 13th. Lafreniere, coming back from the dead for his 6th goal. VC with his 8th. And then Adam Fox, 10th goal of the year. You look at some of the assist numbers here, too. Panarin up to 37, Fox up to 37. Oh, and actually Panarin ended up having his 38th as well, and Fox's 38th. So it's funny. Both of them an assist on two of actually Mika. Yeah, both of Mika's goals. Which is interesting. You gotta love all the passing here, and then just a strong game from Igor, almost scoring, which would have been something. But I just think that looking at this game, there's no way that you could look at it any other way than extremely positive.
Yeah, quite literally. I mean, again, you kind of broke down kind of who scored and when. But I mean, these scoring opportunities that the Rangers were getting, I mean, they looked like a team that's been scoring like this all season. And we've mentioned how we're kind of worried about the team's, I guess, scoreability is the word I'm looking for here. And I'll kind of break down each goal here. I mean, Adam Fox, basically just a broken play in the neutral zone. And that was kind of a big theme, I think, for the Rangers all game, where they were really crowding up the neutral zone, jumping past pucks here. Bless you.
Thank you.
Kind of getting into passing lanes here, really disrupting Florida, kind of, trying to get anything going in terms of offensively. And that first goal, again, broken play in the neutral zone. Adam Fox kind of just ends up with the puck on a little bit of a rush, and he's able to just kind of deke around defenders, use his stick, honestly, to his advantage, and not let a Florida Panther kind of, lift his stick and kind of disrupt his shot. And he just did a nice little, forehand to backhand move, forehand to backhand to forehand move. And he kind of blew right past the goaltender. Verhaeghe, tied up the game on the power play. Which is pretty funny because, you're watching the game and they were literally talking about how horrific the Panthers power play is. I think it was 14 for the past 48 power plays or something. And of course you get Verhaeghe, who scores, who's been hot recently. I think it was 23rd goal of the season. I think he has around 50 points, I think, right now, maybe 45, something like that. But he's someone who's been good for the Panthers, consistently throughout the season. End of the first period, which you always love to see going into the intermission. You get a nice push in the power play. You end up finding the back of the net. You're feeling good about coming into the second period. And that was basically, a bread and butter power play goal here. Panarin with the cross-ice pass to the Zibanejad on the one-timer. And, that was one of 2 goals by Zibanejad, and we'll get into both of them. But Zibanejad just has amazing accuracy. It really is just so impressive how he's just on a rope these pucks, and he whether it's over the goaltender's shoulder or down low, hitting the corners of the goal. I mean, he's just honestly it's guaranteed goal, really, when he has that one-timer opportunity. If that goaltender is just a millisecond behind Zibanejad's move, I mean, it's the puck's getting past him. It's amazing. Second period, actually, it's funny. I was talking about how going into the intermission, you're feeling good with a goal. Rangers come out a little flat-footed. They're getting outshot, 7-2 to start off. Panthers had some decent pushes here. But Jimmy Vesey finds the back of the net. And this was another theme, I think, of the Rangers last night, where they were just crowding bodies in front of the net. And this is something, again, I talked about, they should do against Boston. You have, Swayman, I think, is the first goaltender to 25 victories this season. He's been absolutely on fire for the Bruins. Now, the Florida Panthers had some young backup dude in between the pipes for him. I forget his name. It's like a one syllable name. I'm just gonna Leon, right? He hasn't had a lot of looks this season. His save percentage is below 900. So I mean, I guess they really took advantage of that. Like I mentioned, this goal with Jimmy Vesey, there was so much pressure by that line. I mean, it was just like shots after shots, and you're looking at the game, and there's just like literally like 4 or 5 Ranger bodies in front of this net, just searching for the puck, looking for any like dirty rebounds. VC ends up with it, diving, puts the puck in the net, and you love that from Jimmy VC. We talked a little bit about him last night. Someone who, was, I guess, kind of written off by some teams, the Rangers being one of them, and his future in the NHL was looking really bleak. And he came in, this season with the Rangers again. I think they signed him to like a 4-year deal, maybe 3-year deal. I forget what it was, but he's got some type of job security now, and he's just been playing really well. It was his 8th goal of the season so far. Fast forward to third period, you're gonna go by Lafreniere. The kid line here with Kakko and Hedl, same deal. I mean, the three of them are just all over the net. They're smothering Leon here. And they were smothering Florida, honestly. It was just so much consistent offensive pressure. I think Zibanejad's, his next goal was kind of the same deal. I don't think it was a cross-ice pass. It was a great pass by Panarin. Again, I mean, he had 3 assists last night. He's been killing it with giving Zibanejad those scoring opportunities. And again, Zibanejad, I think he hit top shelf, right corner. Just pinpoint accuracy. Like there really is there's nothing even a goaltender could do. And that's just honestly so impressive. You love to see Zibanejad kind of on this hot streak recently. I would like to see honestly some of his numbers from the past couple of weeks. I feel like he's been on the score sheet quite often. And then you mentioned Hedl with that empty netter, right, to kind of end the game here. The Rangers really just played a phenomenal game. I would say one thing too they kind of been doing, I saw against the Panthers, was just really like short passes up the ice, going from neutral zone to offensive zone here. It's those kind of short little passes that are easy to make. You can get the puck past the defender, and all of a sudden, you have this room. That's how Fox is getting this breakaway. That's how Panarin is getting this breakaway. That's, it's kind of how these players are kind of able to, penetrate deep in the offensive zone. And then, you get decent lines who just kind of set up, and they're just kind of like in their zone. Like they're just passing nicely, they're getting good scoring opportunities, smothering, closing in on the goaltender, making that ice rink look so small to the Panthers. And they just really had no answer for it. And 6 goals is something I think we haven't seen from the Rangers not before, but often, I would say recently.
Right.
And to see just that, the well-oiled machine they looked like on offense. I mean, you got to absolutely love that. Shesterkin, you mentioned him having a decent night. He had some really big saves. There was a few, as we typically see, when you're on offense, you're kind of closing in on the goaltender. Pucks kind of, bleep out a little bit, and then there's a little bit of breakaway. There was 2-on-1 situations going against the Rangers. Shesterkin's there, and they know that. And he's just able to make those saves, keep the Rangers in the game, hold Florida to 2 goals. You absolutely love that, dude. It was really just a phenomenal bounce back game here for them. We were pretty tight about the Bruins. But again, if they're able to do this, like against a team like the Bruins or, like the Avalanche, the Golden Knights, they're able to produce like this. I mean, they're going to be a really dangerous team. They're going to be a team to be kind of fearful of going into the postseason and the rest of the regular season for that matter. And I think they really, like, if I'm Gallant, I am honing in on this game as like a perfect example of what the Rangers are capable of doing. And then again, like there should be like, I'm running a film session and I'm going through everything you guys did right. This is the strategy. I want you to hold to it, because this right here, I mean, obviously big win, but their level of play, I mean, it's at that point, it's bar none,
Absolutely. Like I said, there really wasn't any negative you could take away from this game. However, it doesn't get easier next time out.
No.
They are going to Toronto on Thursday. So there you go. It's not the Bruins. Everyone would agree. Toronto's really good, but obviously Bruins on an island by themselves right now. So there's your litmus test. Go beat Toronto. And I believe they did beat them at home earlier this year, right? Didn't they break that streak? What did they have? 15 straight games with a point or something?
Yeah.
So you feel good about that. You hope that they stick with Shesterkin with the day off, because sometimes it's a spot, always started a couple in a row. You know, we'll put Halak out there, and I understand Halak. What has he won his last 4 starts?
Yep.
But against Toronto, I do not want Halak. But
Neither do
just
I.
because it's Toronto, I will feel good about that. Obviously, time will tell. Michael chiming in. Great show, fellas. Last night was legendary. So I had a great time. Wow.
Wow,
In sync.
dude.
Hold the milk because I can't have.
Can't have milk?
Dairy.
Hold the milk because I can't have dairy, dude. All right. Yeah, sure.
Movie reference?
I don't think
Legendary. Were we talking about milk?
I dude, I got nothing for you on that.
Is that a bite?
I think because you had milk in your coffee last night, maybe?
Possibly. I think that's what it is. But we always appreciate How I Met Your Mother line. How I Met Your Mother. So
big fan?
Was a big fan, but last season or 2 was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, I heard some pretty piss poor kind of reviews of the last season.
And then I haven't watched.
Looks like we have a phone call, actually. Michael, you're on the sports board. What's going on, bud?
Guys, it's sad you guys couldn't get the joke. So in How I Met Your Mother, Barney, he's always doing, it's legend. Hold on, I'm lactose intolerant. Dairy, legendary.
Now it's ringing a bell. I did watch How I Met Your Mother in college. Haven't watched an episode probably in 7 years, but now that you say it, does ring a bell, Michael.
Yeah.
Yes.
But can you at least agree with me on that? The beginning of that show was ridiculous, and then the last 2 seasons were just so bad.
Oh, horrible.
Yeah,
horrible.
Yeah, it was.
Talk about dragging it on.
Right. No, but the first couple of seasons, I couldn't stop watching. I was binging it, literally.
Yeah, me too, Barnes. Me too, bud.
And I can only imagine
Barnes
how.
And I have similar sitcom tastes.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure, like, you probably think I haven't watched a second of it, but I can only imagine how How I Met Your Father is.
Oh.
Did we talk about that on Screen Time or no?
We definitely can, dude.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was already discussed. I
No,
know you
no,
guys cover it all.
I'll clarify that. Love you guys. Peace.
I love you, brother. So yeah, a great call there by Michael. And I did mention Toronto, so that'll be interesting on Thursday, and I'm excited to talk about that. But just before we get to picking the games tonight, last night Toronto 5-2 over the Islanders. So Tavares against his old team actually scoring his 21st goal on a power play. And we saw Nylander put 2 in the net, so he's up to 26, actually ahead of Austin Matthews, who has 25 goals. So a result that I expected. The Islanders are competitive, but I think Toronto, it's just too much for them to handle. And then the other 2 games we saw the Sabres, Powers with the game winner, his first goal of the year to lift the Sabres in Dallas over the Stars. So Tony talking about, they're definitely not going to make the playoffs. Maybe, if the people in Buffalo heard that one. So a big win in Dallas, 3-2. It's going to be tough, but you can't rule them out. And then the Flames, another overtime game, 4-3 over the Blue Jackets. So you didn't expect them to have as much trouble in that one as they did. But nevertheless, you come up with the win. You're happy about that. And we'll see if the Flames, can continue their upward trajectory here and find themselves in the playoff race. Currently they find themselves outside of it. But that'll be interesting. A huge slate tonight in terms of games, I believe. Yeah, we definitely have enough for 4s. So you can start, sir, and I'll just update as well. My run continues. I'm 8 for my last 8, Tony, with the picks, including the golf.
Unheard of.
Unprecedented. You picked up the one, of course, with the Rangers here. So right now that puts us at, if I could just get to my notes here, giving you an extra second to peruse the matchups for tonight. I know there's a lot to choose from.
It really is so much, dude.
My Coyotes back in action.
I know. I know you're gonna like that.
I've soured a little bit though.
You've soured a lot.
I just thought they would have stepped up by now. Tell me that I'm a little wrong. At least that they could be more of a 500 team than what they are. 19-12, by the way. So I'm 19. You're 12. Runs out at the Super Bowl, but right? Am I wrong there?
No, I think you're right, and especially I think looking at their matchup tonight. I mean, against the Ducks at home.
But watch to lose, though.
Yeah, they might. And they're only minus 135. I mean, a team like Arizona, you expect against the Ducks to be, favored better, to be a team where, okay, this is going to be, even though it's Coyotes, this is going to be an easy win for the Coyotes.
Keller,
Yeah.
Melka, but just hasn't been enough. Nope.
Guess not.
Nope.
All right, my first pick here. Let's get right into it. I'm going to go with the Bruins in Montreal. Obviously at this point, you're looking at a 7-game deficit, right? Between you and I. What do you got? 19,
yes,
12?
7. Yep.
7-game differential here, if you will. And I will say, obviously we know about the Bruins, we know about the Canadiens. Bruins on the road, killing it. Canadiens, who have seen, some bright spots, I think are going to, skate into the brick wall that are the Boston Bruins here. And this is a game that you would expect that could look ugly. This is actually the first time these two teams are facing each other this season. So I just think the Canadiens probably know they're in for it. The Bruins don't have overlooked spots very often. Again, only 5 regulation losses, 4 in overtime losses or shootout losses, 9 losses total over the course of the season, which is ridiculous for them. And we obviously, like I said, we know about Montreal. Bruins actually currently on like a 5-game winning streak into this matchup. Montreal just actually won. They beat Toronto in an overtime win. But I don't think they're going to really be able to skate well with the Bruins at all. So give me the Bruins here. I'm going to say, I don't know, 6-2.
All right. Kind of interesting. I feel like I'm gonna end up taking a lot of underdogs tonight, just based on the way the games are. And I'm gonna just start at the top here. My guy, Erik Karlsson. I mean, how does he not win Comeback Player of the Year? 15 goals already, 47 assists, playing like it's 2012. So give me the Sharks over the Red Wings. I know they're 1 over 500, but I just feel like they have been very disappointing. You expected them to take a step forward that they just haven't. And I think that they're beatable here. We've seen the Sharks, despite 14-25, we've seen them beat some quality teams this year. And I expect tonight to be no different. Give me the Sharks here, 3-1 over the Red Wings. Karlsson with his 16th and 17th goal of the year, possibly setting a career high. We'll see what happens.
Love it. That's a good pick right there. My next pick here, I'm going to go with a slight favorite here, but nonetheless, I'm going to go with the Devils here at home, Prudential Center against the Vegas Golden Knights. These are both teams who, you could argue are basically neck and neck in terms of talent. But honestly, I think New Jersey with their speed, I think can kind of really, really pester Vegas in terms of honestly stopping them defensively and then progressing down the ice offensively. Vegas, I think have won. Dude, they're on a 4-game. They've lost 4 of the last 5 games. They lost to Arizona 4-1, Detroit 4-2. They got shut out by Dallas. Edmonton, they lost 4-3, right? So they're getting scored upon quite often, and they're also not scoring a lot. In those losses, against Edmonton was the only game where they scored 3 goals. Other than that, it was 2-1 and then 0, right? So they really, it looks like they're having a little bit of an issue scoring right now, honestly. And it's not even that they're playing great teams. I mean, Arizona scoring 1 goal, that's pretty crazy for Vegas. On the other side, New Jersey, I was playing Chell with them last night. Very quick team. I'm pretty hot on Dawson Mercer right now, the center. I think he does a phenomenal job in winning faceoffs, in disrupting also like other, I think the game against Edmonton, I mean, he totally shut down Connor McDavid in terms of winning faceoffs. He's a really skilled player. He's someone to look out for on New Jersey that, isn't like Jesper Bratt or, Hughes or even Dougie Hamilton, who are all great players who are going to play well. Again, first time this team plays this season as well. So I think, the Knights kind of coming to Jersey, I think they may be in for it here. Maybe they'll put up a fight, but again, their lack of goal scoring is going to be an issue. I think Vitek Vanacek gets his 3rd shutout of the season. New Jersey wins this one 3-0.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I'm going to go with the Sabres on a back-to-back here in St. Louis. And I just feel like, listen, I understand, St. Louis at home here. And record-wise, actually, the Sabres have a better record, but I think they're just, the thought is Sabres on the back-to-back, they could catch them napping. But this Sabres team is tough. I don't think they lay down for anyone. And I think they're a lot more talented than the St. Louis Blues here. So I think Thompson, another strong game here. No matter who they start in net, I think they'll be just fine. St. Louis just doesn't have the same bite that they used to. So give me the Sabres here. I'm going to say 4-2 over the Blues.
By the way, that defenseman who scored the game winner last night, Owen Powers, look out for him, honestly. It's like kind of like his first full season in the NHL. He's 20 years old.
High draft pick?
From Alberta. I don't think so, to be honest. I think it was like mid-level. I'll have to double check here. If you just give me a second while Brian is trying to get his headphones working again. But technically it is his rookie season. I think he played like maybe 8 games last season, right? Looks like bio drafted. Oh boy, dude. First rounder, first pick overall, actually.
Wow.
By Buffalo in the 2021 draft. So obviously someone who is going to be highly touted for Buffalo here. He's 6'5", 214, a big body on defense. Probably, get that poke check going a lot. I mentioned, we mentioned his first NHL goal. He also has 16 assists on the season. So, he's looks like maybe he can be a skilled passer. So, watch out for him, honestly, for games to come for Buffalo. That's going to be honestly huge if they can develop him to be a really good defenseman with that body type too. If he's laying down hits and he's just playing some lockdown D and jumping in for some offense, I mean, that's someone you can look out for Buffalo.
And also look out for Buffalo to make the Buffs.
I don't think so, dude. No, it's not going to happen, dude. Not going to happen. He's only 20 years old. Take it easy. Pump the brakes.
What do you got for number 3?
Anyway, number 3. Looking, I mean, do you take the Coyotes? Probably not. Oh man, dude. I guess give me the Penguins. How about that, dude? The Panthers on the back-to-back here. Road trip going to be in Pittsburgh. I know I mentioned, they got kind of fleeced by the Rangers last night. They did kind of start Leon or Lion, whatever his name is, right? So probably put like Bobrovsky, right, who we mentioned, kind of is as of late been pretty solid. But I mean, Pittsburgh, I know they were kind of hot and they kind of cooled off a little bit. They've lost 3 out of their last 5 games. 2 of them in overtime, though. One of them just in regulation. Again, I think a team that struggled to score against New Jersey, struggled to score against Carolina, only scoring 1 goal in both of those games. Against Ottawa, they put up 4, twice actually on back-to-back games. They put 4 up against Anaheim. I think this is kind of a team where, Pittsburgh knows if they let Florida keep in this game, that Florida could get away with it. But again, Pittsburgh, very well aware of the situation, veteran team. I think they're going to come out, pretty physical, pretty quick. Evgeny Malkin, 2 goals and an assist here, honestly, for Pittsburgh. I'm thinking he's going to be kind of your star player, I think, of this game here. Give me Pittsburgh. I'll call it 4-2.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Tampa at home here where they've been dominant, 17-4-1 up against Minnesota. Both teams have lost 2 in a row after winning the previous 3. Both teams have played a lot on the road recently. The Lightning, at least their last 5 on the road, and the Wild 4 of their last 5. But I just think Lightning at home, haven't played since Saturday. Losers of 2 in a row. They're ready to go. They're ready to defend their home ice. And I've said it about the Wild all year. I mean, I think, going against mediocre teams, I think, they can win some games. But against those teams in the upper echelon, I just don't think they have enough, despite Kaprizov, having a good year. I mean, I'll give him that 26 goals, 30 assists. But whether it's Fleury or Gustafsson, and I know the numbers look okay, but I think they're beatable. And the Lightning have even shown with Brian Elliott in that 9-3 in his starts this year that they can win games.
Wow.
So all of that being said, give me the Tampa Bay Lightning here. I'm going to say 5-2 over the Minnesota Wild. Kucherov with the hat trick.
Kucherov, dude. We're going 4-piece, right? We're going 4? We're going 4s? Wow, dude. We're going 4.
Gotta go.
Wow, dude. This is going to be pretty crazy here. You took the Sharks, right?
Yep.
Interesting. I guess I got to go with the Kings, huh? Favored on the road here tonight against Philadelphia, but not by much, -130. The Kings, again, call me sentimental. Another team I was kind of playing with last night in Shell. So I guess I'm just kind of hot on there. I'm looking at Adrian Kemp, 19 goals, 12 assists, 31 points overall, 26 years old, center. Does decent on the face-off circle, as well as, finding the back of the net a few times. I'm going to go. He's going to have a nice career game here. A hat trick by Kemp. Okay. Nice, support goals by Fiala. That other young guy who I forget his name right now, but nonetheless, dude. And I think Jonathan Quick here, in between the pipes, kind of not having a good year. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they do end up starting Copley, because he's been pretty solid for them, 13-3 on the season. Jonathan Quick with 4 overtime losses, kind of struggling. Does have the 1 shutout, but not numbers nearly as good as what it used to be for him. But nonetheless, I think he gets the support in terms of scoring by LA. LA wins this one 5-3.
Like it. All right. So last pick here. I know I just said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to just go with Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? If you're not going to win now, when are you going to win? And I just think against a Ducks team that has clearly been the worst in the National Hockey League this year. No excuses. The Coyotes, I mean, they're 2-2 in their last 4. Did beat Vegas 4-1. Look at the Ducks, 1 win in their last 5 here. And I think just, at home where the Coyotes have played their best hockey, 9-7-2. I think there's enough to get this one done. So I'm going to say the Coyotes, a nice Vizmelka game, who's disappointed me a little bit this year. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I'm going to say shut up. Ducks, weak offense. So give me the Coyotes here. They're special. 2-0 with the 2 goals by the one, the only Clayton Keller, Tony.
Wow. Love it, dude.
So it should be a fun night of hockey. Looking forward to recapping it with everyone tomorrow. Looking forward to talking about that Rangers Maple Leafs game tomorrow as well. But yeah, I mean, just great stuff here. A lot of good baseball talk, a lot of good hockey talk. Obviously, as the week progresses, we'll get into the championship games, Championship Sunday.
Hell yeah,
always
dude.
One of the best weekends of the year. I do believe there's something special coming up on Screen Time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you are correct there, Brian. There's a big episode of Screen Time coming up here at noon. Manny's gonna be in studio momentarily, and we're going to be breaking down Netflix a few days ago, I think maybe on Friday, released all of their releases for 2023, which is obviously a pretty big deal, big Netflix. So we're going to be breaking down, picking our, what we think is going to be some pretty good releases by Netflix, stuff like that. Also, we're going to review, I would imagine Manny did. I think he did watch it. I watched it. Episode 2 of The Last of Us on HBO Max came out on Sunday. Talking about that. Great show so far.
I'll surprise you. I came home last night, from Gaming Corner. It was on. I watched probably 90% of episode 1.
No kidding.
And let's just say it was crazy.
You liked it?
Well, I was somewhat interested. The sci-fi at times, can be a little strong.
Right.
I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil, for those who haven't watched just yet. But, there were some interesting parts. But I know, I think sometimes with me, when stuff is a little unrealistic, I get turned off. But I understand it's sci-fi. That's the point. We want imagination, Brian. I can imagine you saying that. So we'll give it a shot. And you should do an episode on the Academy Awards nominations and past winners.
They did just announce, I think either yesterday or today, movies nominated for Oscar nominations is what they did. So that may be in our future.
I feel like you've done
Friday.
That before, no? Didn't you do that last year?
We did it last year. We did the Golden Globes too, which just happened as well last week. You should check that out too if you're interested in our breakdown of the Golden Globes. But Academy Awards, I mean, I think we can get into it. There was quite a few snubs actually this year. It's always interesting to talk about what to see reactions of people who are like, hey man, like you should have nominated my movie, sort of deal. So a lot of drama, Brian, as you can imagine. So yeah, we can break that down on Friday probably. Yeah.
There you go. So like I said, another great day. Really appreciate everybody tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. Checking out the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee in costume, as well as the merch at downtimetv.com. We want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games, enjoy Screen Time, and we will see you. Money.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.